This is the DJV Download. I'm Doug.
I'm Jen. And I'm Victoria.
This podcast made possible in part by Calitrin, the safe way to lose weight, Prevagen, keeping your brain healthy, and My Pillow, guaranteed the most comfortable pillow you'll ever own. All right, so, Jay, what do we have? The latest, Alec Baldwin is exonerated in a manner of speaking? Is that what this...
I wouldn't go that far. One of the things that he has said in regarding to the accidental shooting of Halyna Hutchins is that he never pulled the trigger of what he thought was a harmless prop. And the Santa Fe County District Attorney said her team conducted an informal experiment to see if what he was saying was even possible, if there was any way for the gun to go off without him pulling the trigger. And what they found was it was. Somebody on her team actually had a old type revolver. So they brought it in, they had their experiments, and they found the conclusion was you can pull the hammer back without actually pulling the trigger and without locking it. And when you pull it back partway and it doesn't lock and then let it go, the firing pin can hit the primer of the bullet. So they found that what Alec Baldwin was saying and his kind of defense that he never pulled the trigger is very plausible. Not sure what's going to happen with this information, but that's kind of like the next step.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that really people need to know is who, and they're doing forensic studies on this right now, and hopefully they'll get a fingerprint of who actually touched the bullet and who else had fingerprints on the gun, because that's the thing, everybody's blaming everybody else. Alec Baldwin, which I don't think this is his fault, but the assistant director who was the one who said cold gun, he says, well, no, it wasn't his fault. And then Hannah Gutierrez Reed, the armorer, she says, well, it wasn't her fault. So it's like, well, okay, it was someone's fault that a live round got into the gun. So hopefully with forensic testing, they can figure out maybe where the bullet came from and who touched it.
And there could be multiple people at fault due to pure negligence.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Somebody's definitely guiltier than the rest, but there are definitely...
Which is, I think, clearly what it is. I don't think anybody was trying to kill anybody.
Right.
Me. I do. Go
ahead.
You do? What fascinates you? Yeah.
The way a gun works, the little bit of energy that it takes to pop off a round, in a manner of speaking, how that hammer, even, it's a small device, and how much spring can there be in that? It doesn't take much to set a bullet off. I would say that's my observation here from thinking about it a lot. No matter what the gun is, it doesn't seem like it takes that much effort to basically explode this device that's in this cap, to send it flying. Doug Steffen with Jennifer Horn, Victoria Keelan, Jay Kirshner. Our mantra is don't offend the listeners, right? We're not here to offend anybody. We may agree or disagree, but we don't do it disagreeably. I remember once when I started doing a local talk radio program here in my hometown that went into Boston, but the radio station was Framingham-based. The first thing, the fellow who was the chairman of the selectmen at the time was a very good friend, wonderful guy. His name was John King. And the fellow who was the editor of the local newspaper did not care for me on the air. He didn't care for my program. He didn't care for me. And he was always taking shots at me. And therefore, of course, I felt obligated to take shots at him or his reporting or
that
whatever
always
it was.
Ends well.
That seems like a great idea.
Yeah.
Well, it was one of the first lessons. This was in the mid-'70s. One of the first lessons I learned doing this on the air for a living. You have to, sort of mark your territory, like a dog,
Oh, no. You have to mark your territory.
Well, that's what it is. And he said to me, his advice was, don't get into a peeing contest with a snake. He didn't quite put it that way, but you get the gist of it. And so I've sort of had that as my mantra every once in a while in certain circumstances where the bosses that I've worked for, if it was an individual station, would say, you need to be more aggressive. You need to tell people your opinion. You need to be stronger. And so I've taken that approach, and I haven't really liked it. I've never been comfortable with that, although certainly as I've matured on the air over the years, I have made it very clear how I feel about things, to wit my thoughts about China and what to do, and I'm very much into I was never into the mandates, but I think we're done with the COVID, or I'm done with it. You can make your own decision, but I'm done with it. The results of this past 2 years, when you look around and see the price of gasoline, for example, and not holding the Chinese responsible for what's gone on here, the complete failure of the supply chain. You can't get a car. You can't get anything. The excuse is the Chinese are hoarding all the chips. There's plenty of chips around. It's just that they're hoarding them because we've been stupid enough to have companies go over there and, all of the manufacturing of stuff like that's done in China. Thank heavens,
gas prices are a real problem, and
my God,
it's a tax. I mean, it is a tax on people who can't afford it. I mean, the people who are the working class who are trying just to get back and forth and take their kids to school. $5 a gallon in LA. It's insane. I've never seen it this high in my entire life.
The least I paid over the weekend was $3.34 last night coming back from Western Mass. Around here, it's $3.46, $3.49, $3.55. Those are the prices. But there are some people. I saw this fellow who is one of those experts, the prognosticators for Wall Street. By the way, this has done wonders for the oil stocks and for all of the other, the gas and oil, all that stuff. But this fellow, and part of it has to do with Ukraine as well. The Russians, they use anything. This fellow he's an oil industry expert. Energy Word is his company. His name is Dan Dicker. And he says, quote, "My guess is you're going to see $5 a gallon at any with regularity. And let's see, the oil prices are going back up to $100 a barrel. It may get as high as $6.50. And
people are not going to be able to they're not going to be able to afford to go to work.
Right.
Of minimum wage workers and
so the Chinese are having their way. The Russians, we were talking about this earlier, how they've made a pact. It's obvious that the Russians and the Chinese are doing things hand in hand, and so away we go to weaken our, we're so busy fighting with ourselves, and here comes Nancy Pelosi and all these other people. Don't say anything bad about the Chinese or whoever it is that's saying whatever they're saying to feather their own nest. God knows. Talking about the Pelosi, and all the rest of them too, and their stock portfolio. How many Chinese companies do the people in Congress have in their stock portfolio? There should be a law against what they're doing, and they're kind of going in that direction. But I don't think there's enough support for it. But there at least ought to be a law that we ought not to be able to buy Chinese stocks.
I think that is a law that just got signed in.
Did that get passed?
I think so, yeah. I feel like, Jen, you probably know this, right? It was, I want to say a couple months ago, maybe before the holidays, there was a bill that came up that passed that no, I guess, elected U.S. official is allowed to have Chinese stock or something, or stock in Chinese companies.
I hadn't heard about it. I hope that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to dig it up. It's ringing multiple bells, and I know we talked about it. I'll have to just dig it up.
Yeah, I think that's something that would be that's a positive. Meanwhile, traveling everywhere, it's going to be more expensive too. Wait till you buy a plane. If you think cost of gasoline, same thing happens with
gas
jet fuel.
Is everything, right? It's planes, it's gas, it's food, it's goods, it's services. Because if people have to truck stuff around, the cost is going to get passed on.
Yeah, the cost of trucking is out of this world. Crazy stuff, and you wonder how the car dealers are going to be able to buy.
The car dealerships around, I don't know up in your neighborhood, Doug, but they're filling up again here in Jersey.
Yeah.
So the Chevy dealership where we bought our car was empty for a long time, and then they started pulling in some used cars from probably around the country. Yeah. Now there's actually new inventory, and there's a Mercedes surplus lot that's been sitting empty for a year, and now that I drove by it yesterday and it's full again. So stuff is moving. Yeah, that's stuff is definitely moving in the right direction, but it's still a very hot market for used cars that are in good shape, because the dealership tried to shake my dad down this weekend to get him to give up his car. Well, they're like, they told him he had like multiple leaks or something, and he was like, okay, the car's like 4 years old, and they were like, oh, well, it's going to cost $4,000 to fix. And my dad's like, what? And they're like, but we could get you into something brand new. I mean, it's a total shakedown.
Of course.
So they want the used car because it's in good condition, and they want to get you into something new.
Of course they
order,
do.
Because they're making so much money on used cars.
The average for dealers that are aggressive, make deals, the average before COVID, the average profit on selling a car was about $1,000 to $1,200. By the way, if you're buying a Porsche, though, that's the figure is different. Do you know that Porsche builds $35,000 into the sticker price of every car? They are the most profitable, or they're the ones that are most outrageous when it comes to sticking it to you if you want to buy their brand, because
what
they
you're saying is you're getting a car that's not that great, but they've just
Right.
padded it by
But the price is
$35,000.
Right.
Yeah. The brand tag.
Exactly. So, but the average price, the average profit on the used cars since this market went bananas about 18 months ago, is $3,000. So they're selling older cars, but many of them, like my car that I bought, I get a 2-year-old car and keep it usually for 2 years. This one I like, so I'm probably not going to do that as long as it holds up. But I've been offered more money for this car than I paid for it when I bought it almost 2 years ago. And that's the way.
Take it. That hardly ever happens.
Nah, I don't. I like the car, so I'm not going to. I don't drive it that much anyway. I'm mostly in my pickup trucks. So, speaking of traveling, the restrictions are relaxing. You see where the
Did you say
Australians.
speaking of a traveling,
I'm a traveling man.
You're a traveling.
Made it stop. Australia opened up to tourists for the first time this past weekend, and you thought there was a
pass.
party. The fully
would never-
vaccinated.
I would never go to Australia ever, 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 ever again. And I got to tell you, I want to. It's on my bucket list. But the way
Why
they
don't
treated
you
their
wanna go?
people, they literally put people into forced vaccination camps in Australia. No way. I'm sorry. That's going to take me a long time to let
That's
that
a
out of my
leadership
craw.
question, though. That's not with the people. That was something.
Don't
that was
care.
in your
Why would I
punishment.
reward that bad behavior? That is ridiculous. That's seriously, they were pulling people out of their homes and putting them into forced quarantine camps. I mean, it's locking people down, not letting people out of their house. They weren't allowed to even go outside, and they had the police enforcing this in their neighborhoods. No, thank you.
So much for the good news. Being able
Sorry.
to go back to Australia.
Back to you. Go ahead.
Okay, so let's see where we can go. We can't go. Jennifer says no to
Go.
Australia.
I mean, tell us about Australia. I just.
Let's-
I,
no,
you-
I'm
I mean,
done.
I'd love
Listen,
to
I'm
go.
talking about that.
Sometimes I'm sure it's beautiful, but holy smokes.
I didn't realize, Victoria, there were various zones. The Shenzhen, the European, I've never heard this expression before. SCHENGEN. They are like, those are the countries. They're Austria, Belgium. It's like Eastern, Western Europe. Although, there's. I'm looking at the countries you're going to have
zone.
to register to travel to this year, starting right away.
Well, it's going to launch next year. So January 1st of 2023. If you want to go pretty much any desirable place in Europe, you're going to have to register with
What
the
does that mean,
ETIAS.
register?
You have to go online and you have to register whatever the information is that they want. And it's basically for them to keep track of, they said it's a security issue. The EU decided to do this new travel authorization program, and they said they're going to protect and strengthen their borders and mounting terror threats in Europe and stuff like that. So that's why they want everyone. It's not just Americans; it's everybody who's going to be traveling into the EU is going to have to register.
So this adds a
it's
month
not a
or
visa
so to the travel. It's not.
It's
a visa.
sometimes it gets approved right away, and they said, but other times applications can take up to 4 weeks. So if you are planning on going to Europe, and again, it's like I said, it's the countries you'd want to go to: Austria, Belgium, Czech Republic, Denmark, Finland, France, Germany, Greece, Hungary, Iceland, Italy, like all the good ones. Now, if you want to go to balmy, Bosnia, Herzegovina, Georgia, Kosovo,
welcome.
Serbia, Ukraine, Turkey, you don't need to register. So have at it. Have fun.
Yeah. Have
Belarus, it's a hot
Yeah.
spot right now, right?
That's right. Very, very hot.
could go take part in some Russian training missions. It's
Right. I love that
Let's
they're
travel.
like, you don't need to register if you want to come to Belarus.
I want to go to space. And Virgin Galactic has opened online
chance.
registration for its first commercial flights beyond the atmosphere. It'll be a 90-minute flight, 4 passengers at a time, $450,000 a seat.
This is the only one I would do, though, because this feels like this is not the penis rocket. This one doesn't have a hard landing. It lands like a private jet, and the cabin itself is designed so much better than the Bezos one. And
Yeah.
so this is the one I would do. You get the whole Virgin treatment.
Right, and it's let's see, Lady Gaga's already made the reservation, so has Brad Pitt, so maybe you get to sit next to them.
The right detail can bump your wardrobe up a notch. Kick off this year by letting Indochino upgrade your style with customized suits, shirts, chinos, bomber jackets, and more without spending a fortune. Indochino clothing is made to your exact measurements, and you can customize every detail. Give yourself a style edit that sets the tone for the rest of the year with Indochino. Get $50 off any purchase of $3.99 or more with promo code STYLE at Indochino.com. That's Indochino.com, promo code STYLE.
Let's see how much ground we can cover with Jay Kirshner in our trending department, at least the social media trending stories, gossip, basically. So the question is, are Taylor Swift and Joe Alwyn engaged? The inappropriate linguists among us would say, is Taylor Swift and Joe Alwyn engaged? But we will not engage in bad English, Jay, right? The question is, are they engaged? All right. So,
that's to be determined.
Really?
Sources are confirming the news. Taylor Swift nor Joe Alwyn have confirmed it. A lot of Taylor Swift fans are like, until she tells us, we're not believing anything. This is not the first time that engagement rumors have followed them around. There are other people who are also like, they're probably already married, because Taylor Swift, if she doesn't want things to get out, she has a way of not letting things out. And when she is ready to share her news, she always does so in like this big dramatic announcement or some kind of clever way where her fans have to decipher codes and figure out what's going on. And
Really?
this is none of those.
They love it.
So
They're like little
yeah,
super
so
sleuths.
a lot of people are kind of not believing these rumors, even though a lot of sources are confirming it.
what do you believe, Jay?
I so want her to be already married. I don't
Why?
know. I just
I
love
don't
that
know if
Taylor
they're
Swift
already
can get rid.
married. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, it
I
would
just
be
love that she's
amazing
so
to pull
good
that
at
off.
keeping things secret
Yeah.
and then letting things out the way she does.
I mean, you know, I'm obsessed with Dumois. That's like my favorite Instagram account of celebrity gossip. And they've been saying that Taylor Swift and Joe Alwyn have been engaged for a year already. And so that comes from like,
What's his story? What's his claim to fame other than being
he's
Taylor
an
Swift's
actor.
boyfriend?
He's
Is
an
he
actor.
good?
He's a British actor. I feel like he's kind of up and coming. He's had some roles in big movies, in some Oscar-winning movies, but
How'd they meet?
he's not a household name yet. They met at the Met Ball in the Met Gala in New York.
Yeah,
She was
I
hosting,
remember
and
that.
she was dating someone else. She's written songs about it. That's how we know.
Of course. We were talking about Brad Pitt being with Lady Gaga up in space. Apparently, he's still having his problems with Angelina Jolie. What's that scoop?
Well, yeah, they own a vineyard together, which they purchased in 2008. They got married there in 2014. And apparently there was some kind of an agreement where neither one would sell off their shares of the vineyard without consulting the other. And apparently that's what happened. Brad maybe wanted to buy Angelina out of her shares. She ended up selling to somebody else. He found out about it when the new company released a press release. And so he is suing. We'll see what happens.
This is a four-year
Oh, my
divorce
God.
now.
Give it a
This
rest.
is never
crazy.
ending. How they went from the hottest couple on the planet to just the ugliest divorce in history. It's very sort of like Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton, right? I mean, the drama
Yeah,
of the roller
kinda.
coaster.
Back and
Almost as
forth.
bad as your last relationship.
Almost.
Thank you.
Almost,
That was
she
very nice
said.
of you, Victoria.
Almost.
I see that Chris Noth has returned to social media. You following him? I have, for some reason or other.
I didn't know that.
He's on my Instagram. Yeah, he's been pretty quiet since all the assault allegations surfaced, but nothing has happened, and it's been 3 months. So I guess he says the allegations are baseless. I'm beginning to think they are. Otherwise, somebody would have come to the surface. Okay, we're suing you for this, 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 and this. Or what are they waiting
Well,
for?
lawsuits can take time, and what did he say on social media? Did he actually say anything?
He insists that he didn't do what he's been charged with doing. He looks kind of frazzled in the pictures that you see.
Yep.
But and they tried to get him. You know, Anthony Anderson's the new Law and Order, and they were trying to get him to go into Law and Order as well. But it didn't seem to work because he was,
He's
doing,
untouchable right now.
Yeah, apparently.
I'm Greg. I'm 68 years old. Grew up in Cleveland, Ohio. Majored in business administration. I do motivational speaking in addition to substitute teaching. Part of the reason for my motivational speaking is I kind of feel like I have a calling or giving back to the younger generation. The golden rule is do unto others, you'd have them do unto you. My wife, Wanda, is a senior flight attendant. She's been flying for over 30 years. We do laugh quite a bit. I think most adults will start realizing that they don't recall things as quickly as they used to, or they don't remember things as vividly as they once did. I've been taking Prevagen for about 3 years now. People say to me periodically, man, you got a memory like an elephant. It's really, really helped me tremendously.
Prevagen, healthier brain, better life. Greg Fraley is a paid testimonialist and real Prevagen user, based on a clinical study of subgroups of individuals who were cognitively normal or mildly impaired. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
All right, moving at an interesting pace here. We have J and K. There's a tire company in nearby town called J&K Tire. So J and K, although he doesn't want to be called K, this week it's yay. Anyway, that's not the story. He's not happy because Kim is getting divorced. Huh, imagine that.
Yeah, Kanye West, a.k.a. Ye. Kim has filed a motion that will be in court next month, where she, even though through their divorce proceedings, she wants to be declared legally single, which a lot of people, especially celebrities, are doing anymore because there's just so much to sift through between properties and finances and kids and all of that. Well, Kanye's lawyers seem to be worried that Kim might remarry and move some of her assets to separate accounts. So Kanye seems pretty agreeable. What's that?
It's hers. What is this discussion? Why is there any question at all?
Look, because he's trying anything he can do to stall. He wants her back. He keeps saying that. He sent her a literal truckload of flowers on Valentine's Day. He's made it very public all over Instagram how much he wants her back. So he's just going to fight anything that she wants to do.
And there's a prenup in place that keeps all of their properties separate. So what he's trying to fight for seems like it's already been situated to an extent. But
then Kim said that he's had 3 different lawyers in 1 year, and that he's not responding to any of the paperwork that her lawyer is sending over. It's all just stall tactics.
How'd this guy get to be so successful if he's such a nutcase? Seriously.
He wasn't this, well, I mean, we do have to always say he is diagnosed bipolar. He has been public about that. He refuses to medicate. So before he was diagnosed, I feel like in the beginning of his career, I don't really remember anything this kind of crazy, in terms of how he's acting kind of irrationally. I don't remember that being the case back in the day. But these types of things, if they go untreated, can get progressively worse.
Yeah, of course they can. All right. I see that Christy Brinkley, I was looking around because you were
you love Christy Brinkley.
I do, because she's my age. And
she's gorgeous.
So she has been speaking out about ageism and some of the ways that we are constantly being categorized. That is me by Victoria. We're being put into a category that focuses on our age, and it's got to it has to stop. This is the DJV Download. I'm Doug.
I'm Jen.
And I'm Victoria.
This podcast made possible in part by Calitrin, the safe way to lose weight, Prevagen, keeping your brain healthy, and My Pillow, guaranteed the most comfortable pillow you'll ever own. So it's great business time for Calitrin. I would think the phones would be ringing off the hook and people would be ordering ad nauseum.
That's right. It'll be 25 years this April, and we've been helping customers lose weight safely and effectively for 25 years. So if you need to lose the weight, you've really got to check it out on our website, toploss.com, because like Doug said, it's so much more than just a weight loss product. I mean, we're not talking about a quick fix fad product. There are no drugs. There are no stimulants. Our number one ingredient is collagen protein. It's got types 1 and 3. That's for the muscle and the joints.
All right, and don't forget the 90/90 special right now. Use the DJV code for free shipping as well. DJV code at toploss.com, and the Get Fit contest. That sounds like it would be kind of fun. Calitrin at toploss.com. Thanks to Elizabeth Miller, here, one of the great Calitrin consultants at toploss.com.